Hey everyone, this is Steve, and in this video I'm going to show you how to transpose a table in Microsoft Excel. We're going to focus on never using the mouse and making sure we get used to those keyboard shortcuts. So there's a few different ways to do this. The first way I'm going to show you is just a paste special. We're going to go first highlight the table that we want to transpose, and to do that I'm going to hold down Control-Shift, down arrow, right arrow to highlight the table. Control-C to copy, and move over to wherever I want to paste it. And the shortcut for paste special is Alt-ES. And then I'm going to hit E one more time to check off that transpose box. Hit Enter. And there you go. There's your transpose table. You'll notice though with this method that these values are hard-coded. They're not linked to the table on the left. So if I were to change this value to, say, 100, the table on the right doesn't change. So let's say you did want these tables linked. This second method that I can show you is using an array. First, we're just going to delete this table on the right. I'm going to use Control-Shift, down, right arrow to highlight, and then just hit delete. Now to do an array, the first thing you want to do is just highlight the cells where you want your transpose table. And just hold Shift, hit down and right arrow, and the dimensions have to be correct for your transpose table. And then I'm going to use the transpose equation, so I'm going to hit equal transpose. Now it asks for the array, so what I'm going to do is just highlight the table on the left, move over here using the left arrow, then hold Control-Shift, left arrow, down arrow to highlight that table. I'm going to finish off the brackets of the transpose function. And now for an array equation, what you want to do is hold down Control-Shift and hit Enter. And there you go. There's your transpose table. You can tell it's an array because the equation line has those squiggly brackets. And these values are linked to the table on the left. So if I change this to 100, you can see the value in the table on the right also changes. The annoying part about this method, though, is that you can't change this block of data on the right. Let's say I want to add a column between Team B and Team C. There's a couple different ways to add a column. I'm just going to do Control Space and then Control-Shift plus sign. And you see I get this error because it doesn't allow you to break up this block of data. So the third method I'm going to show you is to use a VLOOKUP and a match function so that the values are linked and you also can break up the data on the right. So first I'm just going to delete this. Control-Shift, down arrow, right arrow to delete. The first thing I want to do for this third method is just copy the labels from the left into for the correct transpose data. So I'm just going to hold Control-Shift, left arrow, down arrow to highlight this table, Control-C to copy, and then just the same as before, I'm going to hit Alt-ES and then E to get the transpose. This is the exact same as the first method, but now I'm just going to delete these values. So Control-Shift, down and right, and then just hit delete. So now what I'm left with is just the labels in the correct for the correct transpose table. And to do the VLOOKUP, I'm going to do equals VLOOKUP. Now the values I want to look up in the left table are the teams. So I'm just going to hit upward arrow to highlight Team A and hit F4 twice to lock the row. Now it asks for the table array. I'm just going to move over here and highlight this entire table, Control-Shift, left and down. And I'm going to hit F4 once to lock that in place. Now it asks for which column of that table do I want to take. I'm going to use a match function because I want this equation to be the same for all columns in the table on the right. So I'm going to do match, and the value I want to match is this metric 1. And I'm going to hit F4 3 times to lock the column in place. Comma. And the lookup array that I want to take is this right here. I'm going to move over and then hit Control-Shift left to highlight this top array up here. And I'm going to hit F4 once to lock that in place. I'm just going to finish off my match equation with a 0 for an exact match. And then to finish off my VLOOKUP, it's going to be another 0 for an exact match. Close that off and then hit Enter. Now, because we locked it correctly with the columns and the rows, this equation should be good for all these, for the entire table. So now we just have to copy it into the rest of the table. And to do that, I'm going to hold Shift and hit down a few times to highlight this column. And then I'm going to hit Control down, and that's going to copy the equation in all those cells. Now I'm going to hold Shift again and hit right arrow and highlight the rest of the table, and I'm going to hit Control R. And now that equation is copied in every one of these cells. If you want to check it, you can just hit F2, and you can see this value is correctly looking up Team B metric 2. This one is looking up Team C metric 4. Now we can just also check this by changing one of these values. Let's say we change this to 100, and it correctly changes as well. The nice part about this method is that this table over here, you can now break up this block of data if you wanted to. So if I just hit Control Space and then Control Shift plus sign, you can see that I can actually add in a column here. And all these equations are still pulling the correct data. So this is typically the preferred method of doing this. All right, that's the tutorial. Hope it was helpful for everyone.